fellow paper crafters and card makers. You might be wondering what I'm doing with these calendars. And of course, I'm going to make some cards. And I think that I'm going to use this calendar. Now, I got these at the dollar store a couple of years ago because I thought that I was going to make a bunch of calendars for people. And I got stamps and I got a die to make a calendar stand. And I had envisioned that I was just going to cut these calendars down and use them on my little homemade calendars. So I cut my paper out for my first calendar, 6x6, and I stamped the grid. And I started stamping in the days of the week, and I realized that I was going to have to do that for every single month of every single calendar, every single week. And I'm like, oh, well, that's a little bit more work than I wanted to do. So I abandoned that project, but I kept these calendars because I figured at some point I might figure out something to do. And one day in my YouTube feed, I came across a video from Maymay where she was cutting up 12 by 12 pages. And I thought, maybe I can try this technique with my calendars. So I pulled out my calendars and it works. So I'm going to put a link to Maymay's video below. And basically what she did, she took the 12 by 12 pages, flipped them over so she couldn't see what she was cutting, and she cut them up into, I think it's 4 by 5 1/4 pieces. I'll have to check the paper that I have on that exact size, but when you do that, you get awesome card panels for A2 cards. So that's what I'm going to do with my calendars. So I have opened this up, I pulled out the staples, and now I am just going to take these and tear them. Okay, so I have all of my pages separated. And one thing I wanted to mention, this is the back of the front of the calendar. So when you cut this page, you will be able to use the panels that you get from this side or from this side. You know, of course, some of them might have the writing on it, and we don't want that on our card. So for those panels, you can just use this side. And then also on the back page of the calendar, they have the little preview pictures. Cut these all out. In addition to this one, you can use these for cards as well. And I'll show you some examples from another calendar that I used to make cards. Now these front and back covers are not as flimsy as the inside pages. So we don't really need to have like a mat or a backing to anything we cut from the front and back pages of the calendar, the covers. But the inside pages, you know what a calendar is. These are like really flimsy. And also the writing or the calendar printing on the back of the picture, a lot of times you will see this on the panel of the card if you put like a white mat behind it or a light color. Some of the pictures do have darker colors in the picture, so you might be able to get away with a lighter color behind it, but you always want to test before you adhere your picture down. Unless you don't care that somebody might see the lines coming through on the panel, that's fine too. I prefer that those are not visible. Also, again, because this paper is so flimsy, I have been using double-sided tape to adhere these down. I did try liquid glue, and because the paper is so thin, or maybe I'm just really heavy-handed with the liquid glue. I could see the lines that I put on it when I put my panel down, and even after it dried you could still see, and it really didn't look very nice. So I'm using double-sided adhesive for my panels. Okay, I have my pages all separated here, and I'm just going to give them a little shuffle, and I'm going to just pick the one on top. This is the one that I'm going to cut, and I'm going to do it the way Maymay did it, upside down, so that when we turn our panels over, we're all surprised. Again, link to her video is below, so you can get more detailed instructions and see what she was able to create with her pages. Well, she wasn't using a calendar, but this is the same idea, and it works on calendars too. Alright, so I'm going to cut these at 4 inches. There's one. There's 2, and I'm not even going to measure the third one because I know that it is the right size. See, 4 inches. Then I'm going to take these and I'm going to cut at 5 1/4. Now on these calendars there is a hole in one of the pages, you know, where you hang it up, and so I'm going to have that hole facing this way because I'm going to trim it off. There's just going to be a little strip that is trimmed, and that is the part with the hole that I want to cut off. So now we have our 4-inch strips, and we're going to cut at 5 1/4. Okay. There we go. And then there's the part with the hole that I don't need, and I'm just gonna toss those. Alright. Now we have our panels here. I'm going to turn them over just so we can take a peek and see what we have. Hopefully it's something good. Now on some of my calendar pages I've gotten some weird looking things that I didn't feel were usable, but most of them you can get a good card out of. So let's flip over the first one. Is it upside down? I think it's upside down. That's nice. That is nice. Very pretty. That's interesting. A big mossy rock. Oh, another mossy rock. And another mossy rock. Okay, so these are probably usable, the mossy rocks. However, I am drawn to the mossy rocks in the fog with the sunset. So I'm just going to make one card really quickly out of this panel, out of one of these panels, and then I'm going to show you some of the other cards that I have made with other calendars, just to give you a couple of ideas. Alright, so as I mentioned, it depends on the colors on your panel, whether or not you will be able to see the printing on the other side really well. And so you always want to just test before you adhere it down to your card. So I have my white card here, and I can kind of see, you probably can't, but I can kind of see the lines on this. So I'm going to get a dark colored piece of paper to put behind this so that you can't see those lines. So I decided to just go with a piece of craft behind this, just for a nice neutral color, and now I cannot see any of those lines that are on the other side of my panel. So again, using my double-sided adhesive, I'm just going to stick that down. Now these panels, if you cut them at 4 by 5 1/4, they fit really nicely on a mat. So there's like no extra trimming involved, but you could cut these down if you wanted to. I mean, it's up to you. I prefer them like this, so I just have that real thin outline of the mat behind. That's the look I like for this. Now I'm going to adhere my panel to the card. So on the inside, I just put a very simple greeting, no special occasion, just thinking of you. And on the front, a lot of these panels, you don't even need to add anything to the front. A lot of them are just so beautiful that that's all you need. But you can add, you know, sequins or gems or any kind of embellishments that you want. Some of them I have just put simply hello. I stamped some of them with the smaller pictures that I'll show you in the examples here in a minute. And others I just die cut out the word hello. And so I just cut out hello for this one out of just some gold cardstock. I'm going to glue this down. Right there. Okay, that way there's a little bit of shimmer and shine with the gold cardstock, but nothing really that takes away from the bigger picture, because really that is the focus for me. So I'm just going to fold this, and there is a card. So before I show you the other cards, I just wanted to show you really quickly some of the other panels that I've gotten out of calendars. This one was, I think, a beachy themed calendar, so I have that. Now this is the front cover, I think, so I could use this side of it, or I could use this side, which is just a chair overlooking the ocean. Either one of these would make a great card. Here's another one. Again, front panel, I could have just the beach, or I can have this beautiful rock formation. Sunset and palm trees. This one is a flower. Some more flowers. Like I said, most of the panels that I've been getting from these calendars are usable. Any of these would make really great cards. This one I'm not sure about because, I mean, I think you can tell that it's a flower, but there's really not much there. This one is a little bit better. You can kind of see up in the corner. Obviously, it's a flower. This one, not so much. I probably wouldn't use it. More flowers. Little creek. Beautiful field of tulips. More tulips. Now these ones I cut to orient them the other way. And you can do that as well, depending on what your picture looks like. Some of them I didn't think would turn out, but maybe I just can't visualize it. Now this is another one of those that is just kind of weird to me. I don't know that I would use this for a card. It just looks funny. Yeah, I can tell it's the beach, but it has this big tree sticking up through it, so that's kind of weird for me. I don't know. Palm trees, a little pier or a boardwalk. This is another weird one. It just, I don't know. This just looks really weird to me. Don't think I would use this one, but anywho. Now this is another from, I think this is the front panel. This is a beachy scene, obviously, but when I flip it over, there's the writing. So I wouldn't use this side, of course, but I do have the back part of it, which is usable. Okay, now let me show you the cards that I've made. So here's one from the beach. This is actually the chair on the other side of the umbrella that I just showed you the picture of. I put some silver cardstock behind this one. I think in all of these I just put in no special occasion, thinking of you. So there's that. Here's one with a really large hello that I cut out of gold cardstock. This one is probably my all-time favorite. I mean, it was just perfect the way that this panel came out. I wasn't looking when I cut this one. Hot air balloon over a field of tulips. Perfect. And I don't need any sentiment on this one, in my opinion, because again, it's just beautiful the way it is. Here's a field of tulips. Now you can see there's darker colors on this, so I couldn't see the printing on the other side, so I was able to use just a light pink cardstock behind this one. Here's another one. I used like an olive green behind the panel. This one I used craft. This one, a shimmery blue. I had wanted to use the yellow that I cut the hello from, but you could see the lines with the yellow, so I used the blue and then just my yellow hello to match the yellow of the flower. Now here are some where I used the little pictures, from the back of the calendar are these ones, and then I just stamped hello on the front. Here is actually, you can see, this is what the larger panel was, and this was one of the die cut, or not die cuts, but one of the cuts that I got. So I was able to get this out of this larger picture. It was just awesome. It just happened that way. Perfect. I love it. Okay, so there's this. This is the bigger picture from the back page of the calendar. And then here is one where I used a butterfly die to cut out of some black cardstock, and then I put the tulip panel behind it. That's one of my favorites as well. And then I love this one. Again, that's oriented the other way. Just some tulips with a hello. I used a dark navy cardstock behind this one. And then I started getting fancy. Not really, but there's just a little picture, just a note. Another little picture. Now, some of the small pictures I used like a postage stamp die to cut my little mat, and this one I stamped on my panel a postcard stamp with some like mail or postal stamps. Hello, little butterfly and some flowers, and then a little ticket that I made. And this one, again, it has the postcard with postage stamps, a little nature scene. And this picture is actually, did I make one of those? I think I did. I just wanted to show you really quickly. Oh yeah. So this card used the bigger picture from this, and this right here is the portion of the larger page that I got when I cut it down for this card. So there's that. Another postage style card and another postage style card. So, I mean, you can get out of dollar store calendars, you can get a ton of cards. And I really think that you could use these for pretty much any occasion. Happy birthday, thinking of you, just hello, good luck, miss you. And some of the more serene ones, I think, maybe might even be appropriate for sympathy cards. So, and again, you can just do panels like I did. You can add embellishments or not. You can orient them any way you like. Stamp the front of them, get fancy with them with other die cuts and embellishments. I mean, there's so many things that you can do just with a dollar store calendar. So that's it. Those are my cards. That's how I use calendars to make cards, and I hope you were inspired to go create your own. Bye!